behind me, you can see a bunch of Sea of Thieves stuff. One of the things that I noticed is they're really good at making trailers, and the trailers do not reflect the game. Like, what you're looking at behind me is all this, like, really interesting narrative stuff that just basically doesn't happen in game. Like, the way that the game is built, it's like there are players that are interacting with each other, and then there's like stationary NPCs who are like give you fetch quests, and the fetch quests never really change. And like this dynamic footage of like this guy talking about like all this stuff going on doesn't really happen. Like, you, it's kind of like Fallout 76 in that like the world just ends up feeling very empty. And when the game tries to rely on the players to populate it and make it interesting, like a lot of the gameplay you're looking at right now is like, oh, look at all these interesting game modes with all these players interacting. But if the players aren't there, and like not only that, but like the players were a problem for Boyks and I. Like, we tried to do new content and we were getting griefed by players who were hanging out and like just sitting on where the island was, where the new content was, and just killing us. And there's not a whole lot of like there's, it doesn't, you don't get punished for dying. Like, I killed a player who was trying to kill me, and he just came back in like 15 seconds, respawned on the ship, hopped off the island, and murdered me. And it was like, get good, scrubs. Yeah, thanks. But it was like, like, how do you interact with that? If there's two ships that are griefing players who are just hanging out on the island, like, my crew of 2 is never going to be able to dig up 3 treasure chests, carry them to our ship, and escape. Like, you were interested in playing this game? I don't think this game, this is the thing. This is all to say that, like, I don't think that you can't have fun in this game. I think you can. I don't think we're going to be playing any more of this game on stream. The game is built in a way where, this is exactly why you don't like multiplayer. Yeah. So the game is built in a way where the multiplayer can be really good or the multiplayer can be really bad. And it really just depends on like what server you get dropped into. And like, beyond that though, the things that you're doing over and over and over and over again in game is basically you're just trying to rack up money by doing these fetch quests. And the fetch quests never really change. Like, they change in complexity in that they like go, okay, you did 1 fetch quest, you're going to do 6 this time. You're going to do 12. You're going to do them for 2 hours. You're like, that is the longevity of the game. It's the same thing over and over and over again, which sucks because if you look behind me, this thing is gorgeous. Sea of Thieves looks beautiful. As far as like 3D concept art, it is absolutely stunning. But there's just no world in there. There's no world to enjoy. It feels like, and this is the thing too, is like, I give it a C. Like, it is as a letter grade, not as like the ocean. What Sea of Thieves does really well is that like it creates a beautiful environment that you want to like see just to like be able to experience it, to live in that space. But what it doesn't do very well is give you content or interactive things. Content or interactive things to like check out as you play, as you move from like one thing to the next. Yeah, like Breath of the Wild does a really good job of like every 15-20 feet in Breath of the Wild there's something to interact with, there's something to discover, there's like those like seeds to find, there's a treasure chest that you got to figure out how to get to, there's a place to use your powers in a really constructive way, there's a camp of bad guys. And the other thing that Breath of the Wild does really well that encourages exploration that Sea of Thieves does not is that Sea of Thieves as you move through the world, it becomes extremely tedious just to get around. Like, just navigating the ocean when you're against the wind, 9 times out of 10, players just like point the boat. You're supposed to like tack the boat like side to side so that you can like zigzag and catch the wind. You know, that's what like real sailors do. I don't know why I said real with quotes. That is what real sailors do. But like, most of the time it's not really even that worth it. It's not that much faster than just pointing the boat into the wind and then just like going. And like what happens then is like you just sit there for like an extra 6 minutes and it's super boring. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to do. You literally hold the wheel in a direction and you move forward very slowly. And I just don't understand like why that choice is made in the game. Like there should be a mechanic to control the wind to a degree. And I feel like if they got rid of all the extra players in the game, like all the PvP stuff, and just put AI ships in, it would be which like had scripted wind so that you could always kind of move around a little bit more. Then like you would have a better time. And if they added like 20 more songs, yeah, there's only like 3 or 4 songs in the whole game. So like when you're sitting there and the boat's like just crawling along and you're just like doing nothing in this empty world, then it's like the you want to be playing these songs, play with all these other players, you play these instruments, but then like you play 4 songs and you're like done. I don't know. So man, it's tough to like recommend this game just because I feel like even though there's content, even though there's stuff to do, it never rises to a point where you feel like you're having a good time. Like most of the time you feel like you're waiting. And like the mountains with the cinder and stuff, like that's all really, really neat. But like we were sitting there, like I was sitting there in a rowboat for like 4 minutes just waiting, just sitting around, and like I don't know if that's good gameplay. I don't think it is. And this is the reason why we're not going to play any more of it. Like there is part of me that does want to play more of this, more of Sea of Thieves on stream, and like just like single player, get in a boat and sail around, because honestly it's like super chill, it's relaxing. But like I just don't want to put time into it. And this is part of like a larger discussion of like gaming in general. Like you see behind me, there's a wall of games. I have 30 PS2 games that I have never played that are like on hidden gem lists that I really want to go through on stream and be like, play them for an hour, see if they're good, trash or treasure kind of thing. And like, I want to play, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to play the new God of War. I want to play the new Spider-Man. You know, like, I don't know that, like, Sea of Thieves in the state that it's in, and even in the state that it's going to be going forward, is ever going to be mechanically interesting enough to be like, you know, I'm going to play this over playing something like God of War, or I'm going to play this over some, like, starting a new game. Like, I'm playing Valkyria Chronicles right now, and I'm really enjoying it. And like, I don't know that Sea of Thieves is ever going to be, yeah, Tenchu 3. It's real good on the PS2. I have it. It's on the stack. I enjoyed the first Tenchu. We'll see. But like that new game, Shadows Die Twice. Like, I have played Shadow of the Colossus, and I have played Ico. They're both great. Yeah, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. It's like, how are you ever going to play Sea of Thieves? Sea of Thieves is coming out with new content. How are they ever going to attract players when, like, alternatively, we could just play Shadows Die Twice? Like, that game is so interesting and engaging and curious, and you're discovering things as you play. Like, I never have that moment of discovery in Sea of Thieves. Instead, I have a lot of moments of, like, well, now I have to wait. Well, now I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Well, now we have to find this one part of the island and I don't know where it is, so we're just going to wander around for 20 minutes. man, I feel like I'm talking myself in circles. So I'm just gonna say that like, if you only have Sea of Thieves, like, there's enough content there that you can have a good time with it. And like, it's a game about just like chilling out with your buddies and like sailing around. If you have other video games, I don't know if I can recommend putting time into Sea of Thieves because it's just like there's just not enough there. I would be very excited, very, very, very excited to see a Sea of Thieves 2. I think that the things that are the problem in Sea of Thieves, meaning the other players and mechanically there just isn't enough going on. I feel like they know that, and that's why they give us these really dynamic trailers where there's like characters and interaction and stuff like that. I think that if they made a second Sea of Thieves, they could grow it in a way that is significant and has content and interest and all that kind of stuff. Like, it feels like this game just like wasn't tested enough, was rushed, and just like ended up in the place that it's in. The way it is right now, 1 year later, is honestly how it should have been at release date. Like, they should have been building on what they have now than what they have going forward. And I guess they're adding fishing, and you can break the mast now, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I just can't justify going back. I just can't.